I have not done a YouTube video in forever. It's not largely my focus, and this particular crunchy Catholic brand also isn't largely my focus as I'm delving into doing birth work and having some online courses and resources in that realm. However, I have something that I just really wanted to come on here and talk about. Normally, this is something I would maybe go on like my Instagram stories or some Facebook posts or my Facebook group, but I'm really trying to pivot away from spending so much useless time on social media, as I know many of us are. And so that's why I'm sharing it here on YouTube. And hopefully you'll come across this and feel rewarded that, hey, I was still able to find like a useful life hack without being on Instagram, because that's usually where you find that kind of stuff. So social media has its place, but anyhow, with it being Lent and everything, I'm just trying to, set that example. And also I just know it's so good for me to be off. So without further ado, diving into what I'm going to talk about. These little posters behind me may or may not fall off of the wall during this video. Literally, they're probably going to, because they've been falling off all day. But I wanted to film it here so that you could see them and see what I'm talking about, because that's what this video is all about. And I have a few videos actually that I'm going to kind of overlay this video with. Like, I took a video of those closer up so that I don't have to bring you around the house and show that to you. I also did a few videos of day in the lifestyle, just me going throughout our day. Today is a Monday. As I'm filming this right now, it's a Monday. And the little bit of footage that I filmed was day in the life of us on a Monday. Now, a Monday typically has a little bit of extra like tidying up, just because we have a lot of family time and relaxed time on the weekends. And so Mondays, I usually wake up to kind of a slightly messier house than normal. I usually try to end the day with a tidy house, like completely clean, so that we can wake up and get our day started, breakfast, getting changed and ready for the day, and jump right into homeschooling without having to already feel behind. However, on Mondays, because of just trying to have like relaxed time and family time on Sundays, I usually wake up to a little bit more of a mess, and that's okay. That is a mindset that I've gotten myself okay with, because I'm like, oh, it's Monday. So I'm just kind of sharing that caveat to say that some of this filming is like, this is our Monday morning. And I'm not going to have too much of the B-roll kind of filming day in the life stuff. I usually feel very strongly against doing that, because it really distracts you from like getting the things done. My baby just woke up, and this is why I don't do these. There's no way she heard me. She has really loud white noise. I'm going to just keep talking for a few minutes, because sometimes she goes right back to sleep without getting into segues on cry it out. So hopefully she'll be okay. And hopefully you can't hear her. So my whole thing, as many of you know, with like my homemaking program called Happy Holy Home, is all about like having routines, systems, boundaries, standards, mindset, like keeping your home in a manner in which is satisfying to you is, first of all, very personal, like very subjective. You can't really have anyone else tell you how it should be, because it's like up to you, like what feels good to you, and also what is feasible to you. And then secondly, it's never going to be a one size fits all. That's why when you look up like a Pinterest like house cleaning schedule, like a 30-day schedule, or like even a 7-day, like a 4-week repeating cleaning schedule, or like even the zone cleaning on Fly Lady method that a lot of people know of and follow, none of that worked for me, because I was just like, there's so much uniqueness to my family's life, and we're not any like unordinary family. We're just your average family, but there's so much uniqueness with every family based on how old your kids are, based on if you work. Do you work from home? Are you homeschooling your kids? What's your husband's work schedule like? So my whole thing with my Happy Holy Home program was that I was realizing, told you, one of those just fell. I was realizing that this is only as good as essentially the rhythm, routine, obedience levels of my children. So this was no longer very successful based on the fact that I didn't have, like a kid equivalent for my children. And basically I was spending the majority of my day telling my kids what they needed to be doing. Like, we homeschool. I have a kindergartner and a second grader, and this is our third year of homeschooling. I've kind of steered clear of doing any sort of homeschooling content because, first of all, I just feel like I'm not a professional yet by any stretch of the imagination. Second of all, I have felt like it was too much of a shift from what I used to talk about. I'm like, I don't talk about homeschooling. I talk about faith, motherhood, and natural living. Like, those are my 3 pillars. But we are pivoting into the homeschooling season, and so that's okay to start talking about. So with this, even though when I created Happy Holy Home, I always said, this works for any family, including if you homeschool. I did always say that, but I wasn't yet very deep into homeschooling. So there was some missing components that now my Happy Holy Home people, they're going to get this all added for free. I didn't create those myself. Those are off of Etsy. So that would be something you would just look up yourself and see if you want to purchase, the exact same ones or something similar. I just knew that I did not have the time to sit and create all of that. So there's plenty already existing on Etsy. So what I was realizing, essentially, your system of your home, any system within your home, is only as strong as your weakest system. And at the time, just reflecting on the past 6 months, the weakest system within our home was kind of our homeschooling. And that takes up the majority of your day. And when it's not solid and fluent, it takes up even more of the majority of your day because it's so much unnecessary nagging and redirecting and reminding and all these things where my kids there was not much structure. And that could be a whole other video. In fact, I'm going to link a video that was very inspiring to me about why homeschoolers do need structure, despite the current dreaminess of, homeschooling can just be laid back and letting your kids run through the backyard and get to school when you get to school. Get to it when you get to it, not get to school because you're homeschooled. But that model really was not working for us. And it works excellently for lots of people, I'm sure, but it was not working for my personality and for my kids' personalities. Okay, you can grab some water off the counter. So what I was finding was that even though I personally had a schedule for myself, the fact that I didn't have one for them, now I kind of did have one for them, on the back end in my brain and even sometimes on paper, I had a schedule for them, but it wasn't something that they could see and they could visually check off and all that. So their motivation to stick to the schedule just wasn't there. It's the exact same concept behind why I created myself a schedule. Now, of course, it's different. I have so many moving parts to my schedule, while as theirs is essentially, we really focus on the core subjects and then sometimes the other subjects. But there's also more to their day that once I wrote it all down, I actually realized there's actually a lot of responsibilities that you guys have between some basic chores and just the basics, basic hygiene, basic wake up, go use the bathroom, get dressed, brush your teeth, brush your hair, eat breakfast, clear your plate after that, do some of the basic morning chores. And then right before homeschooling, we have our morning prayers and our Pledge of Allegiance. And those were all things that I was striving so hard to implement consistency. But to them, they were just not seeing the picture. They were not seeing the full picture. So it was all this nagging before we even sat down to start homeschool, just nagging to get the basics done. So I started to realize it felt like my kids were essentially running amok every day. Now I have 4, they are 7 and younger. My youngest is 1 and she's all over the place. So when this is why these videos will be literally once every 6 months. The baby is finally asleep. Hopefully the rest of the children stay downstairs with their show. I was realizing, and I was very much making excuses. I was essentially saying, I just have hard kids. My kids just don't listen. My kids are just too high energy. My kids. Instead of, what about me? What am I doing? What could I do differently? First of all, I can wake up earlier. That's something I always say, but as soon as I slip up with it, the whole shebang just crumbles. It literally is so effective to be getting up before your kids, or, maybe you stay up late and you set everything up, whatever it is, but just having that self-reflection of where do I need to make some tweaks here to make sure, for example, even just myself, getting ready for the day real quickly, having that done before having my needs met of like coffee, food, physical appearance, whatever, making my bed, tidying up my room, like having that all done, which is my 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. time block. If I don't do that, it honestly like makes it drag on through the whole day. So what I could accomplish in a kid-free, uninterrupted 30-minute stretch ends up seriously spilling into the whole day, where before I know it, it's 11 a.m. We've barely started homeschool. And I'm like, well, you just guys give me 5 minutes in the bathroom. And I'm trying to brush my teeth and wash my face and do my hair. And I'm feeling like frazzled because I don't feel put together. Those are the like observations you need to make where you're like, wait a second, this should have been done in the beginning of the day. And so write those things down, like write down adjustments you can make in your life. Like, hey, if I do this, get ready, physical appearance, make bed, whatever, before this set time of day, like if I can just try to stay consistent with that for 5 days in a row, I bet I'm going to see how effective it is. And you will. And then you'll have that inspiration, motivation to stick with it. That's just like one tip on actually a new component that I'm also going to be adding to Happy Holy Home, which is called Happy Holy Habits, really reflecting daily on things you can change to just make everything better. It sounds so basic, but it's so huge. So with the homeschooling aspect, again, I was realizing that taking this laid back, relaxed approach was just not working for us. Now, a few months ago, I had this same moment and I made them a clipboard. So I made them each, I don't know if I have it right here. Actually, I might. So each day of the week, they had a little list, very simple, like maybe 6 things or something every day. So it would be like Monday, there was a paper, and Tuesday, there was a paper. And they were just barely different, just based on like some rotating subjects like social studies, history, geography, catechism. It was very basic and it had little boxes to check, but it was only including homeschool. It wasn't including all those like hygiene basics, like I was saying, literally just like meals for the day, going outside, things that when you go to school, kids are on a strict schedule. And I actually think kids do thrive off of that. And I think kids do need that to some extent. So it's kind of funny because us homeschool moms are like, the rigid schedule of school is just like, no 5-year-old needs to have that. I'm not saying I want my kids to sit in a desk for 8 hours. That's actually exactly what I don't want. But what I do want is some structure. And now that we're literally on day 1 of this, but I've been talking it up for like a month because it took me a long time to do all the things, to look these up, customize them, print them, laminate them, customize and print and laminate the little cards that go on them, cut those, get the little Velcro sticky things. It was a lot. It was actually a lot. But I am so banking on this being like the most pivotal moment ever in our home life because we're reaching a point with these 4 kids. My older 2 are just still not at that point where I'm like, you're fully self-sufficient. Like my kids fight like cats and dogs, to put it lightly. It's very intense around here a lot of the time. And so without this, it was just me constantly grasping for straws to try to like rein them back in and say, you guys, we need to do some school today. And I was not a fan of that. I'm like, that's not like me. I can do better than this. Anyhow, I'm going to skip all the mindset stuff of like what brought me to this point because it was so much. It was so much of like enough is enough, and so much of me deciding to be done making excuses, just saying, well, my kids are just too hard. This is just the season we're in. No, I thought to myself, remembering like my career life and things that I've done in the work world and things that I've done even like for myself, like with my homemaking schedule, my website design, with my other, my business endeavors. I'm just like, I am capable. I can do this. I need to do this. So basically, instead of doing the clipboard thing, I followed the same approach as I do for my Happy Holy Home program. Now, I know I keep mentioning Happy Holy Home as if everyone just knows what I'm talking about, but who am I? Just a little YouTuber with 200 subscribers. You very likely might not know what I'm talking about. So Happy Holy Home is a 4-week homemakers program to essentially week 1, declutter your home and like re-implement some mindset and boundaries throughout your home, identifying like what exactly you want your home to look like as far as standards, cleanliness, routines, rhythms. And then weeks 2 and 3 is like you go through and you basically are collecting pen to paper everything that needs to be done in your home, everything, including your own personal, like wake up and get ready and drink coffee and read the Bible and do this and this and this. And then, make breakfast, clean breakfast, get the kids ready for the day, mop the kitchen every other day, whatever it is, everything goes down on paper. And then you go through and you pick like a frequency for it. This gets done daily, this gets done weekly, etc. Then you go through and using like an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheets in case you don't have Microsoft products, you go through and you make it into a schedule, and then using Canva, a Canva template that I provide you with, you add it into this beautiful little thing here. You already had a granola bar and pizza and water. Okay, I think we're back. So basically they're gonna do one routine, so that's like the morning, and when they get to the end, one of those has a little, I'll do the overlay video so you can see their little like star or whatever it is to put on their good behavior chart. Again, I got all of this off of Etsy and I'll include the links for that. So they get to the end, they get their little star and they put that on their good behavior chart. It just so happens that these good behavior charts that I got off of Etsy have 21 blank spots to put a star, or like the dinosaur one, it's a little fossil. So they get to the end, they put the star on their good behavior chart. And after 5 days, because I don't think we're gonna do this on Saturdays and Sundays, after 5 days, that is 15. And so there's actually, there's actually room for like earning 6 more, or I'll include Saturday and Sunday and they'll just kind of earn them in a different way, like just for being good and stuff. Or I'll do where they can earn an extra by being really good, or by like staying in bed at night, because that's something we're working on. So I'm still kind of figuring that out a little bit. I truly don't know how moms do this because I keep getting interrupted. So yeah, this might be my one video for the year. So I'm still structuring how they're going to earn those like good behavior things. And then at the end of filling one of the good behavior charts is going to be a prize. Every Monday we're going to vote on the prize. So it's going to be something small, like we either all go to the dollar store and get something, or we have a family movie night with like popcorn and treats, or we find, is there even like dollar ice cream cones anymore? Like Wendy's or somewhere used to have really cheap ice cream. I don't know if anywhere does anymore, but I'm going to look into that, and that might be one of the options. So this is our new plan. And that's really all I'm coming on here to say. The kids absolutely loved when they woke up and saw that this was all set up and ready to go. Obviously, you can see pretty simply, like they finish something and they get to Velcro it shut. And then the reason I chose to have the subject or the assignment, whatever it is, on like a white thing that's also Velcroed on is so that it's very easy for me to switch it out. So if I decide that something just isn't working, or say we switch curriculum for some reason, like we're just not doing something anymore, it's an easy switch with just that white piece to swap out the Velcro, rather than reprinting and laminating and cutting and folding and Velcro dots and all of that. It's just like one simple modification instead. Had I not already done all the work behind like our Happy Holy Home, and again, you guys, this is kind of funny, but I don't use my Happy Holy Home clipboard very often. Now I know that seems really hypocritical because I created the program, I promote the program, I talk highly of the program, I receive raving reviews about the program. But for me personally, most of it, I kind of just know by heart now is the reason for me not using the clipboard. It isn't because I'm like, hogwash with this program. No, it's just because I kind of know it by heart. But the reason that you do all the work behind it is because at first you don't know it by heart, because at first it's so overwhelming. And that's kind of the same concept with like my kids' routines, and why I'm not going to have them do something on Saturday and Sunday, because for the most part, we're building habits with this. And so they're like, wake up, bathroom, eat breakfast, brush teeth, get dressed for the day, clear your plate, make your bed, and then do a family tidy up around the house. Like that morning habit sequence is just hopefully going to start happening naturally. And this is so important for life, to just teach them that having a routine which can be sometimes broken. Like, hey guys, we're going to have this routine, but also like on Sunday morning, obviously we're going to be getting ready for mass and like our day is going to look a lot different. Or on Saturday, you're not going to be doing a lot of these like school assignments, but you have some free time to do other things. Teaching them that having a routine that can be flexible, but to also stick with it when it's brand new is a life skill. Like, this is huge for them. But what I was saying about having the Happy Holy Home, foundation that I already have is very necessary for this to work, I feel like. And so it's only fair for me to mention that, because if some mom watches this and she tries to implement this homeschooling thing, but she does not have the same level of discipline and organization for her own schedule, as far as chores and budgeting and grocery shopping and meal planning and like all the things, because that's everything that's included. If she doesn't have her own organized like schedule for that, then this is actually going to be really hard, not only to stick with, but to expect your kids to stick with, because you're not demonstrating the same level of discipline within your responsibilities. Does that make sense? So obviously as moms, we have so many responsibilities, but we know what they are, right? Sometimes there's things that are unpredictable, but like when kids get sick or some emergency happens or kids are just having a rough day. But for the most part, 90% of it is predictable and repeating and reoccurring. Like, it's the same thing. So that's what I talk about in this, is like, hey, let's get all the things that we know we need to do and put them into like a schedule, pair them with other routines and whatnot. And then the things that are unpredictable and emergent and all like the crazy stuff won't totally pull the rug out from under us. Oh, okay. You need some more water? Yeah. Okay. Okay, I feel like there should have been some sort of like grand ending to be like, woo, this is the answer to life, but there's really not. If you're a fellow homeschool mom, you know that things are ever changing. And this is actually, again, like the first video I've made about homeschooling, really, because I just felt very much imposter syndrome up to this point, where I felt like, and again, even this, I'm like, we just started. So who am I to say this is going to be the bee's knees? Because I don't really know yet, but I'm pretty sure it will be. Again, I've been building it up to my kids the whole time that I was making them, because, I just like sometimes 4 days would go by and I haven't even made any progress. So it was like whenever I had time, I printed and then I laminated, and it was just like this whole process, truly saying that I think this is very necessary, which is why, of course, I will include where you can purchase this. It's going to be so much more effective and just make a lot more sense and have so much higher likelihood of being successful if you have the foundation of this, which really is just, it's huge. This is unlike anything that you're going to find on YouTube or Pinterest or wherever people even look these days for like a homemaker schedule. I do have a free, it's called Homemaking Hurdles and How to Overcome Them, like a free workshop that I'll also link. And so you can attend that. It's, just self-paced or whatever. You can see if it feels like Happy Holy Home would be a good fit for you. So I did that workshop a couple years ago, and even more so, I stand behind it and just saying that having these systems and boundaries, and really a lot of it is just a mindset, like setting your standard for yourself and saying, I will not be okay with a home that is messy and cluttered and always, and maybe you are. Truly, I actually think that's a gift. I think in a lot of ways, I wish I could be that way. But I'm not. I don't thrive off of messy environments. And so I need a tidy environment. And that's why I created this, because unless I have the structure for it, the boxes to check every day and to tell me what to do and the cleaning schedule to follow, then of course, motherhood and the unpredictableness of it will get the best of me. And then the clutter and the messiness and the chaos is not fun. It's like a vicious cycle, the chaos puts you into this like really down, depressed, basically mindset. And then that depressed down mindset pretty much keeps you from being able to do anything about the chaos. Yeah. So, and then you're just like, well, how am I supposed to fix the chaos if I'm in this like negative mindset? And how am I supposed to fix the negative mindset if I have all this chaos, which is causing the negative mindset? And it's this vicious cycle. So I invite you to come out of the vicious cycle and try out Happy Holy Home. I think that was pretty much everything I was going to say. Oh, I just want to end it by saying this. A lot of you stay-at-home moms or homeschool moms, like you might have always been stay-at-home, but I feel like a lot of us have had a job at some point. Maybe it was like some big corporate job, or maybe it was not, but whatever it was, Like, I just want you to reframe that being the mother of your children, being the stay-at-home mom, and being their teacher, their educator, their their cook, their nurse, their everything. This is your job, and it is the most important job in the entire world. It is, I mean, God is your boss. Like, this is God's assignment to you. This is your holy calling. This is your vocation here on this earth, which is not forever. Forever is eternity. Forever is hopefully heaven for you and your whole family. And to get them there is very much reliant on the everyday things. And so that's what makes it so important. I used to just really talk about like all the fluffy stuff of faith, faith fluff, and, you know, like novenas and prayers and spiritual reading. And then I got to a point in my motherhood where like my kids were getting older and homemaking was becoming more and more challenging. And that's when I went through this whole journey of like implementing all of this, which is obviously just, that's all that I'm selling is like literally what I did. Because I wouldn't be here if I hadn't gone through that journey. Yeah. What I'm saying is I wasn't just like this born natural organizer, declutterer, homemaker, schedule person, not by any means. It was something I had to research and then learn and then implement. And now that's what I share with you all. So having this, okay, I keep getting interrupted. So I guess I should wrap this up, but basically it was just trying to say that this is the most important thing you will ever do, being the mother of your children. And if you homeschool, you know that it's such a blessing and such a beautiful thing, but it does make things extra challenging. You're always with your kids. You're in charge of everything all the time. And so having the like best chance at it is basically going to start with having some sort of schedule, some sort of routine. You need some structure. And so for us, this is what that looked like. And again, each of these little boxes, I mean, you saw plenty of videos of it. My kids are still very young, so this will change as they get older. One day they will be back to the clipboard, but right now they needed something fun and new and exciting, and they are very excited about this. And I'm very excited about this. My husband is very excited about this. So this is what we're doing. I hope this blessed someone. I didn't even segue into how we considered lots of technological options, like, you know, the skylight calendar that's all popular. I even looked at the Trello boards. It's like it's an app called Trello. And I looked at putting basically all these routines onto like Trello. And then on the iPad, they were going to go through and check everything. But then I was just visioning them like fighting over using the iPad. And I don't want them on the iPad. I don't want to have that any more than the very minimal amount that we already have it. So I was like, no, we need something that is paper, something that is fun. And so here we are. So moms, if you move forward with this, or if you move forward with that, or even if you don't, just know that you are doing an amazing job. I hope this video blessed you, inspired you, encouraged you. And I always say, I'm praying for you. I am. All my followers and listeners, I'm always praying for you. And I hope you'll pray for me. And best of luck to you in your motherhood and homemaking and homeschooling. God bless you. Hello, everyone. It is literally almost midnight, but I wanted to come on here and give an update. So I actually was up until past midnight. I know I need to be going to bed earlier. I was up until past midnight last night making these, or not making them. It took me a month to make them, but like hanging them up and doing the final things. Right now, I am swapping out. Now, don't be misguided into thinking that I've been up until midnight tonight because of this. I've been doing other things. My kids had a hard time going to sleep, and anyhow, I actually still had to finish cutting some pieces. So yes, it partly has been this, but that's not to say it's going to be like this every night. It's still new. So I am swapping out one thing, their afternoon school rotating subject. I'm just going to peel off the science and put geography. But what I actually mainly am coming on here to say, I feel so weird doing this at like midnight because I look like it's midnight. So now that the day is over, they loved it. We had some bumps in the road simply because I wasn't used to having to be that disciplined in our day. It actually like really exposed some areas that I need to work on, because normally the smallest thing would allow us to get completely off track. For example, like me not waking up and being ready on time would like delay us. Whereas because of all of this, I was like, I don't have any wiggle room to be delayed. Like if I didn't get ready, that means I'm not getting ready today. Like we need to stick to our schedule. Because of course they're sticking to it. So it's like, it's holding me accountable. My baby had a really rough time today. She just was like having a rough time napping. She was just really cranky. And normally I would kind of take that as an excuse to be like, well, we just didn't get to homeschool today, but it was our first day of these. So I was like, no, we're gonna do this. And it was extra challenging for me. Like I had to be really disciplined. There was no time or like wiggle room for me to slip up and be like, I'm gonna just relax for a second. Like I just couldn't. And that almost sounds like a bad thing. Like, you know, these made it where my day was like so much harder. But again, it was like a good thing. It actually completely, it was like a refining. This morning I deleted my social media apps off of my phone. So at the time of recording this, I don't know when I'm going to publish it, but at the time of recording this, it is Monday after the first Sunday of Lent. So it's been Lent for almost a week since Lent started on Ash Wednesday last week. And I had said that I was going to give up social media, but then I just didn't. Like I didn't delete the apps. I was still going on for some reason. And then this morning, when I was like starting to do all this, I truly was like, well, I'm not going to have time for social media. And I finally deleted them. So that was nice. So it made me delete those. It made me notice any areas that I'm maybe like not spending my time wisely. Yeah, it's just been like really motivating me to be like, this is such a good change. So again, I know it's only been one day, but they loved it. Like they were like, they were just so excited every time they got to close one of those and then move their star over. And it kind of doubles as like not just a schedule for them, but also, like I said, the behavior chart aspect, because, you know, I made some threats where I was like, well, if we're not, you know, practicing good listening and good kindness towards our siblings, then that is a reason where we will actually lose our star that we just earned. So kind of like playing that role, and that was pretty effective as well. That was a learning curve for them because I think they've kind of gotten used to some extent, like walking all over me sometimes, and I'm just not having that anymore. So this was good. My arm is gonna break because I don't have my tripod right now, and I really need to go to bed, but I just wanted to end with that. And I'm going to end with one last thing. Can you tell I'm a night owl? Because I started thinking about how in this video, even though it ended up being a decently long video, I still did not even like scratch the surface on how I came up with these schedules. Like I showed them to you, but there's so much more to it. And it's twofold. It's one, getting their routines and like what they need to do each day simply based on using the same concept that I use in Happy Holy Home. And then two, establishing their homeschool schedule. So that, I mean, that's huge. Like that wasn't explained in this video. And that's like a pretty important part, especially for like a newer homeschool mom who is like, I need these, but I'm also new to homeschooling. So like, what the heck, how do I make this schedule? So that's going to be included in my Happy Holy Home extra module, which is called Happy Holy Homeschool. So yeah, if you want to try to have this level of like amazingness in your life, because I'm so just pumped about this, again, you need Happy Holy Home first, and then you can add this, because it's just gonna go so much better for you. Of course, I'm going to include the link to purchase Happy Holy Home in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm gonna go get some sleep. God bless you.